OnlyFans is destroying society. I actually was listening to some stuff about this actually recently. So let's see what Upper Echelon has to say.
Okay, let me get something out of the way here right at the start. The statement, OnlyFans is destroying society, is not a brave thing to say. It's not even an unexpected thing to say. I'm pretty sure deep down, any reasonable person already understands that a platform like this, gaining widespread adoption, is universally a bad thing. But after a recent development came across my feed, namely a lawsuit against OnlyFans, I want to try and provide a data-driven argument for why OnlyFans as a platform is quite literally destroying the fabric of modern society across multiple separate social dimensions. I'll start with this. OnlyFans, a subscription membership platform that almost exclusively caters to adult content, was officially created in 2016 as a subsidiary of Phoenix International Limited.
Would I rather porn be in the hands of individuals or in the hands of companies that make porn? Like, which one is better? And like, obviously I'm not saying that it's good in general to have this kind of a thing, but if you had to pick one, which one would you pick? Right? So that's why I kind of think about like, is OnlyFans like a bad thing? That's what I'm weighing it against, right?
At first, the platform was relatively
choosing the lesser of two evils, yeah.
To 2019.
I mean, you have to do that a lot of the time, right? Just because that's you have to be kind of realistic about society, right? And I think while you can be consistent, like with your values, as in like, saying that like you don't think it's a good thing in general, that's not enough to get society to like make a thing go away. If society has already determined that like a specific thing is acceptable, you kind of have to just do what you can to mitigate like the possible evil that could be within it, right?
It amassed a mere 300,000 creators, and by creators I mean mostly women posting explicit content.
Society is determined by legal standards, yeah, but the legal standards are based on the majority, like what culture is in power at the time. You have to be realistic about it, in that it's probably not a thing that is possible right now.
However, in 2020, possibly as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, OnlyFans began witnessing unprecedented user growth to the tune of millions. In just 1 year, the platform gained something like 1.3 million new creators, and from 2020 through 2023, which is the latest year that we have official figures from, the platform would go on to amass over 4.1 million users. I should be clear, when I say 4.1 million users, I mean creators. When we talk about subscribers to the platform, the number is more
wait, but here's another thing. Oh no. Here's another problem now, is if it's based on individuals, then it becomes more accessible for people to do it, which makes it that people want to do it more. So maybe OnlyFans is worse, actually, now that I think about it.
Like 350 million. But for right now, I want to focus on the creator side of things. 4.1 million different creators. And that's 2023. If you continue the previous growth rate here in 2025, that number...
Honestly, I actually think AI is a good thing in this thing. AI is probably a lot better for society.
Like
I mean, it is. I mean, obviously, we're talking about the lesser of two evils, right? I think that AI is probably better because then it removes like half of the equation.
Or thereabouts. But focusing on the figures that we actually have, which is understating the problem by a pretty hefty margin, to be crystal clear on that, of those 4.1 million, according to GitNux, 84% were female with an average age of 29 years old. Here's the thing. This is where we have to do a little bit of guesswork, or maybe estimation is a better word for it.
But then again, you have to think about AI also delivering, sort of creating an unrealistic expectation. Because you can absolutely freaking gigamax everything in AI, right? To like a level that is like not even possible. You can make it like so appealing in its ability to actually like create the most optimized content, right? Yeah.
Logic every single step of the way, and the results kind of speak for themselves. The overwhelming majority of revenue from OnlyFans goes to the United States. I'm talking over 2/3 of all revenue that the platform ever processes coming from or going to the United States. And if we extrapolate that to the broader creator market, we can estimate roughly 2.7 million total creators in the US. Well, knowing that 84% of OnlyFans creators, roughly speaking, are female, that would mean about 2.2 million creators averaging 29 years of age who are not just using, but selling services on OnlyFans. Pretty high number, but let me just put this in perspective. Remember, these are old figures.
You want to know what I really think the problem is? I think that, and I don't actually think that the porn and the OnlyFans, I think it's a symptom of the cause. And I know like a lot of people would think it's the actual root issue. I don't think it's the root issue. I think the root issue is materialism. It's like a desire, have things that are beyond your means, and to use that to basically have more than other people, I think is the actual root of the issue.
That we're using, the numbers have more than likely increased in the time since 2023 substantially. But if you then compare that figure,
the root issue is the male sex drive. The male sex drive is not a bad thing, actually. I don't think it is. I don't think it's inherently a bad thing. I think the materialism is, though.
To the U.S. labor market, it becomes honestly terrifying. According to the U.S. Department of Labor,
there are cases in which the male sex drive is a good thing. For instance, like a married, happy relationship, like it's fine for the man to have like for him to have a sex drive. That's fine. That doesn't apply to like materialism, basically. Materialism is downpaying the needs for basics. I really don't think so. I don't think you need to do sex work for basics. That doesn't make any sense. That's not true.
The Women's Bureau. The most common professions occupied by women in America from 1 to 5 are registered nurse, elementary and middle school teacher, managers, customer service.
You don't need OnlyFans money to like, there's a little bit of nuance here. You might need it if you want to maintain certain living conditions, as in a certain level of luxury and a certain level of choice in where you live and what you have access to. In that case, it would be true. But in the case of like strictly surviving, I don't think it's necessary.
And secretary. By far the largest number is registered nurses with roughly 2.2 million, which would make OnlyFans a comparable number now to the most common female career in the entire United States. That's already horrifying
crazy.
On its face.
Holy
especially
shit.
when you think about the fact that
There's almost the same amount of OnlyFans girls as there are nurses. Well, actually, that's not fair, because the reason that's not fair is because not everyone on OnlyFans is like their main job. They could be a nurse and an OnlyFans person at the same time.
And of just 3 years, according to the stats that we currently have, an explicit adult platform managed to amass a creator market that would make it rival the most common career in the country for young women. But it gets exponentially worse, because according to the American Association of Colleges of Nurses,
it could be like a side gig.
The median age of a registered nurse, 46 years old. Remember, OnlyFans creators average 29 years of age, and most analytic pages don't even estimate or track the number of creators who are in excess.
The problem is there's a lot of incentive to do it. OnlyFans is only saturated to hell and back. Most creators barely make enough as a side gig. Only a handful of people make a good living out of it. Yeah, but see, that's the problem with that is that's like the dream, right? Like people see that and they're like, that's what it is and that's what I want. It's the same thing with streaming. But what I was saying earlier is the reason why it is strategically. So if you don't care about morals and you don't care about self-worth, it is strategically the best play you could make as a girl. Because if you consider the benefits of doing it, so one of the problems in life, the early game, and I've talked about this before, the early game of life is basically make money fast enough to get a house. Because once you have a house, that's when the game actually begins. That's a tutorial, is owning like a place of your own, regardless of how big it is. As long as you're not paying rent, that is like the end of the tutorial. That's incredibly hard because of down payments. You have to be able to have enough money stored up in order to put at least like a 20% down payment on a house, in a house, apartment, condo, whatever it is. You have to be able to put a 20% down payment. After that, all of the money that you put in, you're no longer burning. Because when you rent a place, all the money that goes into rent, you're literally throwing it away. Whereas if you own a place, like, say your rent is like $1,000. I know it's not nowadays, but let's just say it's $1,000, right? And if you put $1,000 into rent, you literally light that on fire. Like there's the other person getting money, so it doesn't like literally disappear, but then like for you, effectively, you're throwing that money in the garbage. Own a place. If you have your own place, you hit the down payment, you put the 20% down payment in order to actually buy the place. Now that $1,000, because let's be real, mortgages and rent is like almost the same price, really. It's not like that different. There are some like other things, like you have to worry about like the paying for like the taxes and like utilities and stuff like that a lot of the times you don't have to pay in rent, other things. But in general, when you put $1,000 into a mortgage, that doesn't evaporate. That like $1,000 mortgage is now asset for you because it's in your house, which you can sell the house later and like realize all of that money that you had put into it. So rather than burning the money, you're saving it. And in a lot of cases, it's more than saving it, because the house of the price of your house appreciates. So like say you bought the house at like, again, I'm going kind of low here. Let's say like $200,000, and then say like the house goes up to $400,000. Every $1,000 you put in is now $2,000. Yeah, minus the interest and stuff. Yeah, obviously. Right. But on a non-insignificant level, you are banking money rather than throwing it away, right? So anyway, now going back to what I'm talking about earlier about like the OnlyFans girls, right? If you're young and you're in that position of like you want to get out of this is the fastest way to do it. So you think about like these girls, they're in these positions where they're like, I could go to college and I could like, spend all of that money, go into fucking debt for college. And now I'm fucking in debt and I'm paying rent and I'm not going to be able to, get out and then like, make a job that's going to be able to pay it off in like a decent amount of time. Maybe I'll be able to buy a house by the time I'm like 30, right? Like, and you have like this problem, but you could also just do OnlyFans and buy a fucking house like next year if you do well, right? So like people see that dream of like that get rich and you're like, listen, do I want to like work my ass off to become a nurse, spend, because being a nurse is like more than your education's longer. It's more than like a standard like bachelor's education because you have to like do all these nursing tests and shit. You have to like study for like the nursing exam. And that's like a whole nother thing, like outside of like the actual degree of being able to do nursing. So you do all of that shit, 4 years, all of that studying to pass the exam. You do all of that. And then you're in debt for like a long ass fucking time. And then like you're doing all that when you could just start off without the debt and just sell sex, sell your body. Right. And girls see that and they're like, listen, I don't have that long to do this because let's be real, like OnlyFans is like a kind of a thing that for women, beauty is a thing that, well, for women, the way people usually see beauty, physical beauty, it fades over time. Right. So women are like kind of like, this is my chance to like kind of, make it on my own, not have to worry about a dude and just have like, I don't have to worry about that. I'll never be in that position. And then I can make a ton of money and then I can be safe. Right. And that's how they see it because of how society like paints things. Right. Again, there's multiple factors here. Right. Or there's multiple things happening at the same time that like kind of culminates into like this being like a very appealing choice for people.
So 40 years old because it's so low. These figures hold true across other careers as well, with 60% of teachers, for example, averaging 40 plus years old. And this means that the US Department of Labor figures don't actually match. Instead of 1.7 million female elementary and middle school teachers in a comparable age bracket, the number is more like 700,000. Call it 1 million if you want to, round up substantially. Doesn't change the fact that you are 2 times more likely to meet someone who does OnlyFans than you are to meet a teacher. Selling sexual content of yourself online, if it were an actual career path in the United States. Yeah, it's
true. And Lucy says all the benefits of OnlyFans and the limited time to take advantage of it sounds like a lot of the reasons women would pursue husbands early in the olden days. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not making a statement of like, whatever, you guys aren't retarded. You know what I mean when I say it, I'm not being an asshole. The way society sees it, women's value is front loaded, right? So women are like an early game build. They're worth more earlier in their life than they are later in terms of like societal quote unquote value, right? When it comes to men, it's the opposite. Men are like a late game build where early on they're kind of seen as like suckers and losers, right? Until later. And then now you have the time to build, again, to get out of the early game, right? It's going to take you like a couple of years to get out of the early game. Now you have a house. Now you have investments. You have your own business now, or you have a nice job that's like kind of in the kind of upper leadership of a company, and you're making a fuck ton of money. Now you can get any girl basically. Men are like a late game build, and then women are an early game build, and that's just like kind of how society sees it. So yeah.
Because of the extreme income stratification on OnlyFans and a variety of other revenue statistics, which is a separate problem that I'll talk about in just a minute here. Don't worry.
Then why don't women understand the fact that helping a guy out who has potential is a good investment? The problem is most people are not good at investment. Axel, most people can't see more than what's in front of their face. And that's like most of humanity. They don't understand anything like beyond like a year.
If it were
because women are emotional. No. This isn't just women. This is also men. A lot of men are like this too. This isn't a man problem, to be honest. Like, I'm just being real. It's not a man problem. It's not a women problem. It's not a man problem. It's like, it's a human. It's a part of the human condition. A lot of humans, they lack the wisdom score in order to actually look further than 1 year in front of them.
Actual career instead of a hollow.
Sometimes not even like a day or a week.
Deceptive and manipulative money-making, quote, opportunity, unquote.
Wisdom is a rare stat these days. Everyone's dumping everything for charisma because charisma is like worth a lot.
more than like.
See, you can see the meta, right? Like the old meta is that like strength was really OP, and then like things kind of shifted, and then it was like kind of strength dex was really really OP, and then you got into like this era where like int was really OP. Like you have like kind of like the early 1900s up to like now, you have like int becoming like the like most overpowered build, and then like as we go into like more of the information age, then charisma becomes the most overpowered build, right? Wisdom was there was only one patch in which wisdom, well, it was a long patch. It was a big ass expansion. There was a big expansion in which wisdom was the most OP, and that's when you could be like a fucking shaman. You were like the fucking old lady in the hut that like was like, yeah, like back in the day, like we didn't eat these because they got people sick, and like I make medicine. Don't be a whore. Yeah, that was the wisdom build back in the day. But wisdom has been dump statted for fucking ages. Especially like nowadays, like the like the cleric builds are really fucking bad right now because people don't like the clerics anymore. They used to like them a lot, but like this patch is kind of bad for clerics. So that's why wisdom is dump statted. But see, like everybody wants to be a bard now. Bard is like everybody wants to be a fucking bard. Like every kid wants to be a bard. So that's why charisma is like the biggest stat right now. Everybody wants, the Riz stat, right? Everybody's trying to be a fucking bard. And like strength builds like suck ass now, right? And like they're getting so fucked right now because of like all of the new items that got added into the game. They basically just give everyone free strength. So like why do you need strength anymore? What's the problem, man?
Likely yields pennies in return. If it were, it would be the most common career by far already in the entire United States for young women. And it's not even close.
See, but like if there was a patch where there was like a giant EMP or a nuclear war, then strength and dex would be the best stats again. And maybe wisdom. We might get like a little bit of like a wisdom patch after that. It's going to be, strength is going to be the most OP, followed by dex. And then as you go through, you'll probably have a little bit of like wisdom being good. And it's going to take like hundreds of years before like int becomes like the next OP stat again. Yeah.
Time for a disclaimer, okay? A big disclaimer. I am not trying to shame anyone. Empowerment, freedom, yada yada.
Until you gotta fix all this shit, and nobody's gonna remember how to fix anything. Like we're gonna lose. Dude, they're gonna. It's like the new game. It's like Earth is done. This is the new game, Earth 2. And it's like a time skip when like everything got blown up, right? It's like a time skip. It's like everybody crawls out of their bunkers. Like nobody knows how to do computers anymore and stuff. They're completely, yeah, it's a full server wipe, yeah.
But the idea of OnlyFans as some sort of incredible financial vehicle is a verifiable myth. It turns out that as the number of total creators rises, as the revenue for the platform goes parabolic, the actual average amount of earnings for creators using the platform is going down.
Dendron.
Matthew Ball has a really good analytical piece about a lot of these different financials and figures. He runs an investment and strategic advisory service. I've referenced his data before, actually, in other videos. So you'll see graphics with his watermark here, and I'll link his website down below. But the point is, while the total number of creators has roughly doubled from 2 million to 4 million across 2021, 2022 and 2023, right? Just a couple of years. The average amount that those creators make by about 30%.
Yeah, because everybody got on that build. Because the build was really, really OP, so everybody hopped on it.
The amount of money that an average OnlyFans creator will earn is less than $2,000 annually.
So now basically like there's too many of them now. So like yeah, people don't want them in their parties.
But those earnings come with every single integrated downside along with them. The fact of the matter is, selling yourself on OnlyFans can have negative implications for relationships. You can argue that it shouldn't carry those risks, and I wouldn't fault anyone for doing so. But the reality is it does. Selling yourself on OnlyFans carries downside risk for existing and future children, relationships, career prospects, and most of all, pride.
Yeah, dude, can you guys imagine that shit, dude? Like one day, it's gonna be like, you're gonna have like freaking kids in school. Like, do you guys remember like when you guys remember like being in school and your teacher's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, oh, I want to do this just like my mom. I want to do this just like my dad. It's gonna be like, what do you want to be? I want to be an OnlyFans whore. Yeah, just like my mom. Like, bro, what the fuck? Yeah, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be fucking wild.
Plenty of other careers.
Dude, can you imagine that? Dude, there's gonna be like little boys in the class too. There's gonna be like dudes in the class like, yo, did you see Tiffany's mom last night? Holy fuck shit. Dude, it's gonna be so weird, dude. It's gonna be so weird. Yeah.
Do as well.
If it's not weird already, I don't know. It might be like that already. It might be like that. I don't know. I'm not in high school anymore. It might be like that already. It's already happening. Yeah, dude, Stacey's mom has got it going on. It's gonna be like real. It's gonna be a real thing. Dang, guys, Stacey's mom has got it going on. You guys see her stream last night? Shit, dude, this is gonna be wild.
That OnlyFans
oh my god,
is somehow cheating the system with enormous financial upside potential. Here's an example story right here about a number of teachers losing their jobs because the school discovered their OnlyFans pages. And if the platform really offered what people think it does, millions of dollars in total personal freedom, the risk would be possibly understandable. However, it doesn't. Odds are anyone using it will make less than $200 a month while risking a multitude of social pitfalls as a direct result.
Yeah, but what did I say earlier? People dump stat wisdom so they do not understand like what is beyond like a month from now. And because they don't understand that, none of that matters. So the idea of like, oh, if you do this now, you might get fucked over later, they don't care, basically.
Of course, there are cases of creators making millions. Established influencers, celebrities, and other famous personalities are the most common examples. But even on the OnlyFans website, it states directly that just 3,000 creators have earned over $1 million total. The real possibility of that success is obviously how the perception continues. But the creators earning these kinds of figures aren't everyday people. They're famous beforehand. Their entire career before using the platform was in the public eye. And the result is that they're able to monetize in a way that a random 19-year-old girl fresh out of high school is not capable of doing. Hammering this point home.
I don't know about that. I feel like I feel like they get a huge buff by saying that.
Accounts on OnlyFans, 73% of all the revenue, which leaves the bottom 90% of creators, 9 out of every 10 people using the platform, expecting to get financial freedom, to fight over just 27%.
Wasn't that? I swear to God, I can't point to a specific reference, but I am pretty sure that there's like a trend of people saying like just turned 18, opened up my OnlyFans, and like people flock to it. I'm pretty sure that's like a thing.
And those figures are getting substantially worse every single passing day. Hopefully everyone can see why this is a bad thing, but let me switch gears now and talk about subscribers to the platform.
I've seen it. I've seen articles about it, about people doing that.
Recently, as in March of 2025, a lawsuit has been filed against OnlyFans by 2 men, alleging that while talking to women who they were subscribed to on the platform, they weren't actually talking to those women, they were talking to an agency. Now, a lot of people may have no sympathy for these men. They should have known, who cares, what does it matter, etc., etc. But bear with me, because that's actually a cornerstone of the OnlyFans marketing technique. Authentic relationships or personal experience. That's the type of language that they use. But reality is a very different creature. See, rather than talking to a popular creator on the platform, subscribers are far more likely to be talking to someone at a specialized agency, such as ofagency.co. There's many of them. This is just one example. According to Amir Kamal, who founded the company, creators can make upwards of 50 or 60% of their entire revenue stream from these direct messages. But instead of actually doing it themselves, no, they hire some guy across the world. This is subjectively kind of funny. People subscribe to a model.
I have the alerts off right now. I'll turn them on at the end.
Random guy in Pakistan. But if you start connecting some of the dots, it gets a whole lot more sinister very quickly. It's actually not just human operators and third-party agencies. No, it's also AI chatbots. There's a bunch of them, each with their own unique spin or differing levels of automation in tow. But I want to read a segment from Vice News.
I feel like AI would be better because it wouldn't have those negatives. It wouldn't have the negatives of like, did you see like so-and-so's mom? And like the kid being like, I want to be just like my mom. I feel like because it's not real people, but then again, it would also create like ultra optimized sexuality, which also might mess with people. It's hard to say like which one's worse. What do you guys think is worse? AI is 100% worse.
2024, which outlines the problem very well. Many creators are enthusiastic about these AI tools.
Yeah, I don't know which one's worse.
A former
it's an interesting thing to think about, I think.
Now runs a talent agency, is an avid user of Super Creators AI, claiming that it has significantly boosted sales by helping creators target their most lucrative fans. The AI's ability to scan for inactive users and automatically initiate conversations has led to impressive results, such as a $1,000 tip sparked by an AI-generated message. However, Eden emphasizes that creators
There's a video of a woman who dropped her kids off at Christian school and had an OnlyFans decal in her car, and her kids got expelled.
Should still personalize the interaction using AI.
AI has no limits. You can generate unthinkable things, and you can use real people as a model. I think as long as you're not using real people as a model, I think it's probably fine. Obviously, it's still a bad thing, but I don't have a problem with that part of it.
Generated content as a starting point rather than fully automating the process. That's already a little bit strange, targeting their most lucrative fans, language and rhetoric like that. But we also have to remember that none of this is happening in a vacuum. It may seem unrelated, although it's definitely not, but something that vocal AI critics have been warning about, myself included, even something that fans of AI have acknowledged openly as well, is that long before general artificial intelligence is ever achieved, something called superhuman persuasion will become possible. In simple terms, even if a large language model isn't actually sentient at all, it will still be able to persuade people, especially vulnerable or lonely people, which is the precise demographic that we're talking about here, to think and act in a certain way as a result of its programming. Beyond,
see, this is what I mean. Like they're gonna be able to hyper optimize it, so it's like as sexually enticing and emotionally, I want to say emotionally fulfilling. Obviously, we know it's empty, right? But emotionally fulfilling as possible for people, right? Like imagine if like people, one day we get to a point, you play an MMO RPG in VR, full dive, you're in there and there's like you have an NPC waifu waiting for you. And you're like, that's all I need in my life is my NPC waifu. Like, I don't give a shit. She's waiting for me to log on.
The capability of an average person. That may sound like some sort of dystopian sci-fi novel, but it's a lot closer than people may think. And the applications for that kind of...
The sad thing is that sounds so good to me. I'm fucking broken, guys.
persuasion are almost infinite.
That sounds so good.
We're talking about today, OnlyFans, all the way to politics. Well, knowing that OnlyFans and top OnlyFans creators are now using AI chatbots actively to target their most lucrative fans, with substantial results given as anecdotal examples in the Vice article, let's look at the actual revenue figures. From 2021 to 2023, the same years in which the average amount that OnlyFans creators were making dramatically decreased, by the way, while the total number of creators on the platform doubled. From 2021 to 2023, the source of revenue for OnlyFans, recurrent subscription revenue remained pretty much exactly the same. It actually went down as a percentage of overall revenue in that time frame. One-off payments substantially increased. To be clear, one-off payments means something like a $1,000 tip, by the way, from a lucrative fan that was identified and targeted by a chatbot. Sound familiar? Basically, this just means that the type of revenue that is elicited from using chatbots and third-party agencies and people using direct messages is the type of revenue that's increasing, whereas subscription revenue isn't. So one of them is dramatically going up and the other one is remaining stagnant, which means it's coming from somewhere. Let's do a bird's eye view. The number of creators using OnlyFans is going up substantially and constantly. Meanwhile, the amount of money that 90+% of them actually make is going down dramatically and consistently. At the same time, the creators who are making money are utilizing heavily third-party agencies and AI chat tools to identify and target their, extracting increasingly larger sums of money, meaning that more and more men are paying more and more money under the persuasion of AI tools and third-party agencies, while they think they're talking to a tiny subset of attractive women, when in fact they're not doing so, resulting in measurable harm at every single stage of the process for everyone. Creators signing up for the platform are harmed because the impression of limitless financial freedom is a verifiable lie. Meanwhile, they onboard all of the potential risks with rapidly decreasing financial prospects in tandem. Subscribers are harmed because not only are they being targeted and potentially manipulated every day by people working for companies across the planet, pretending to be a woman that they're attracted to, but they are also at risk of being subjected to AI persuasion programs, which are obviously working quite well, else the revenue figures wouldn't.
And yeah, that's the problem, is that AI is so freaking efficient at everything that it does, and it can do it forever because humans have to rest. AI never sleeps. It just keeps going. As long as it has power and processing, it just keeps going. That's the danger, is that they're going to be able to optimize this shit like so hard. And they already kind of do this, right? With like algorithms on YouTube, where like you'll be watching shit and all of a sudden it'll recommend a video about an interest that you have that you've never watched a video from before. And you're like, how the fuck did they know that I like this stuff? all of the weird small things that like they find about like the videos that you watch. So, oh, this person probably will like this, and they serve it to you and you click on it, right?
Be changing the way that they have been changing.
Did you guys see there was a thing before about on Facebook where there was a guy never told anyone that he was gay, and he never like clicked on anything gay or like did anything gay on the internet, 100% in the closet. And then out of nowhere it started recommending him gay stuff, and he was like, why, how does it know?
All of it, over the span of just a few years, is metastasizing
super
like
gay,
a
though.
malignant cancer. It feels like we're speedrunning the fall of decent civilization. And I understand that a YouTube video titled OnlyFans is Destroying Society can be perceived as completely hyperbolic, all right? Or extreme, or indefensibly outlandish. But I genuinely believe that more than almost any other platform I've ever researched, except maybe TikTok, it really is doing damage. Early in the video, I said multiple separate social dimensions, whatever that means. And now, after detailing my argument fully, I would assert that those social dimensions are trust, privacy, stability, and honestly, dignity. I won't sit here and claim some sort of moral high ground on a personal level, don't worry. But if you look at the situation in context...
The problem is a lot of people don't understand dignity as a resource. This is like something that like was a big deal before, to the point where like if somebody insulted your dignity, you would have to 1v1 them. You would basically say like, you called me a fucking slut, 1v1 me. 1v1 me tomorrow. And like if somebody said that, you would have to 1v1 them. You would either have to be like, yeah, sorry, I was wrong, I was being a bitch, or you 1v1 them. And it was like a huge deal back in the day. There was like a whole etiquette behind it. Yeah, they had an entire system for it before.
Especially considering how fast the platform is growing every day and the trajectories of revenue, where that revenue
I kind of feel like they should bring that shit back, honestly. It'd be pretty based.
Comes from how many creators are
We had that in the fighting game community. It was called a casket match. Basically, like you would go to the arcade and then you'd play against people, and if a person talked like mad shit, you would say like casket match me. If they accept it, it was basically like a huge like honor thing to be like, yeah, you're a bitch, casket match me. And then if you casket matched them, like basically everyone would show up to the arcade. Oh man, did you hear like this dude is gonna casket match this dude? Oh fuck, when it's gonna be on Friday. Everybody goes to the arcade and they watch it. And the casket match is like depends on whatever rules they set up, like best of 5 or whatever. If you lose, you quit the game. You never play the game again. That was the rule. It was crazy.
Benefiting, etc. If I look at everything
you uninstall
in context,
the game, you never play again.
It's difficult for me to see this platform as anything other than evil. In the end, the downside risk of using OnlyFans as both a creator and subscriber seem to be dramatically outweighing any potential benefit, because the benefit is static. It doesn't change. The benefit is going down for creators, but the risk and potential negative ramifications consistently expanding with every passing day. As per the title of the video.
I'm pretty sure I watched Tatsu do a casket match. You guys know my friend Tatsuniko? I'm pretty sure I watched him do a casket match back in the day.
OnlyFans is destroying Western
I think
society.
he won. Yeah, I think he won.
That's it. If you want to support the video and these, please do consider using Locals and Patreon for monthly memberships. Also a special VPN deal linked down below, big discount, merchandise, social media, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything. Thank you for putting up with my sick voice. It's yet to go away over the past few days, but yeah, that's it.
It's a good video. I think people don't really see dignity as a resource anymore. They don't even really care about it as a stat. And it was a big deal back in the day, though.